Savvy Central Radio, drawing out the best from our guests, with host Christina Nichman.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Savvy Central Radio. This is your host, Christina Nichman. Each week on Savvy, we host successful individuals and business owners, inviting them to share their dreams, stories, wisdom, and lessons learned in their field of business. Our guest today is Nan Akasha, best-selling author and co-founder of Bliss Life Press Publishing. She is also an intuitive bliss manifestation coach, spiritual guide, teacher, and money and mindset mentor. Nan is known as the secret weapon for flipping your rich switch. Today, Nan joins us to discuss her new book, Be Love, 14 Bliss Life Principles to Activate Instant Inner Peace, Strong Self-Esteem, and Real Courage, so you prosper in full color happiness. To find out more about Nan, visit her website at nanakasha.com. Hi, Nan. Welcome back to Savvy Central Radio. How are you?
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited. This is just a wonderful, wonderful time.
Oh, I know. It is so much happening. I just feel all around me. It feels like all the business owners I'm talking to are exploding with creativity and just so much on the horizon. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today, too.
Yes, and I'm excited to have you back to talk about your new book, Be Love, 14 Bliss Life Principles to Activate Instant Inner Peace, Strong Self-Esteem, and Real Courage so you prosper in full color happiness. Wow, what a title, girl. Share with our audience, for those who might have missed our first interview together, share with our audience a little bit about your journey and what brought you to creating your newest book, Be Love.
Oh, yes. Well, it's one of those things like everyone, lots of ups and downs. It's that hero's journey we get to go through like a movie. And so I was raised Midwestern girls, work hard, suffer. The more you suffer and work hard, the better you are. That's when you get attention. That's when you get approval. That's when you get love. And so I say it that way because now as a mindset specialist, a hypnotist for 16 years, and having been on a 27-year spiritual journey, I, have figured that out. But worked really hard growing up just to be the best and to win approval and to be a people pleaser. And it was great. I achieved a lot of things. But when I was in my late 20s, my first business, my fashion design business, closed. If you're familiar with the late 80s, everybody went bankrupt. All the department stores bought each other, and then they declared bankruptcy. So I had to close my company, and of course, that's what the external circumstances looked like. But it was a crash. It was one of those complete deconstructions of your life when everything you believe, everything you worked for, it just falls apart, and you're standing there going, "What?" And so it was a beautiful and amazing thing. It's my favorite moment in terms of catalysts in my life. And I got on a spiritual path. I went out and said, okay, there has to be something different and better. And who am I? And why are we here? And how do we create our reality on purpose? And all of that good stuff. And so I kept creating businesses. I'm just can't work for other people. My highest value is freedom, and I'm very creative. So I've had 5 businesses over the last almost 30 years, 27, 28 years, I guess. And, most of them multi-6 and 7 figures. So I know how to make money. I know how to follow my passion, and I've learned over time how to market and run a business. But what was fascinating was to watch, each one be born, and then how did it end, and what I discovered was this roller coaster pattern, which most people have, of different kinds of successes. And so 3 years, 10 years, even at one point, one business, they all ended at some point. And I had a lot of opportunity throughout my life to recover, to, have this phoenix rising from the ashes sort of thing. And I started to really search, okay, how does this work? And I got into, metaphysics and spirituality and energy work and healing work. And I was really fascinated with how the mind worked and how to, astral travel and project yourself and talk to spirit, the weirder the better, quite honestly. Yeah. Because I was really searching for what's underneath everything. And ultimately came to a place of a lot of peace, meditating, just all kinds of wonderful new things in my life. And I really had this sense that, oh, I have inner peace now. And I know that if I meditate every day and I do this and I do that and I think this way and I give love and, I'm very zen and I don't let anything bother me and all these wonderful things that we get to learn on our path, then nothing bad will ever happen to me again. And I was so happy. I was like living in this cloud. And of course, when you're in that space, you do have a lot of wonderful things happen. You see them, you expect them, you experience them, you receive them. And I had wanted to have a baby, and it'd been about 8 years, not like intently, but we'd been like, passively sort of trying. And I finally got pregnant, and it was like the most joyous, amazing time in my life. We were insane, ridiculous, happy pregnant people. And everybody usually is. Most people are, right? But it was ridiculous. And I went on a dolphin swim, and I didn't even know I was pregnant, and the dolphins were all around me. And it was just magical. And I just thought, this is it. I found the secret to life. And then my daughter died. And everything, again, that I had believed in crashed all around me. Everything that I had then created a new belief from. And then I was really confused. And I had no real connection to God or source or spirituality or anything growing up. So this was a new level of who I could blame, right? So this, I was like, okay, I was mad at God. I was mad at the universe. I was like, what, are you kidding me? You sucked me in and you made me think that, if I believed all these things and I act this way, everything would be fine. And of course, it was yet again another opportunity. It was an invitation to step through that to the next level of my consciousness, my awareness, my personal and spiritual path, to understand that, yes, we do create our reality. And, here's the bigger picture of how things work. And I really kept realizing that underneath it all, it was about the energy, because we're all energy vibrating at a particular rate, everything from a tree to a car to an apple to you. And so I really dove deep into learning about energy work and vibrational work, and made vibrational essences and did healing work like radionics, which is all based on vibrational rates. You literally have instruments where you can recreate in a bottle of water and alcohol almost any substance on the planet, from, penicillin to the color red to, an herb to a homeopathic to and divine love. I mean, it's just everything, conceptual, physical, emotional, physical parts of your body, and diving deeper and deeper into that and seeing how everything could be expressed numerically and geometrically, and watching, when I was doing healing work on someone on the other side of the planet, or an animal that I was communicating somewhere on the other side of the planet, and watching the transformation and seeing the proof, the physical proof for my left brain to go, this is real, and it was very blessed to really keep diving into that. That was my path of finding a deeper connection to spirit or source, because I really needed to understand, how do I play the game? I like to play a game to win. I was in sports. I played 3 sports every year: volleyball, basketball, and track. And I went to high school in London, and I was all Europe in basketball. So if you tell me the big picture and you give me the rules, I can win. I can figure out how to make it work. And I felt that way about my life, because the emotional pain that I'd been through, like all of us, and the struggle to decide, who am I and how can I be myself and be happy with who I am, because I had very deep self-esteem issues. My family was, very hardworking, very practical, very good, follow all the rules. But there wasn't a lot of love and nurturing. There was, you're never good enough kind of a thing, and you don't deserve this. And, that sense that you only get permission to be good enough sometimes. So just carrying that energy, which I think a lot of people do around, no matter how good you get at something, you always have this little bit of a sense that it's not good enough, or that someone else may take it away. And so through all of these different things that have happened in my life, which I believe is true for all of us, the painful ones and the really, really amazing ones, the spiritual ones, the loving ones, we have an opportunity to learn deeper that we need to accept who we are. So for me, ultimately, that was the biggest lesson is every time something would fail or would fall away or fall apart like this, as painful as it felt, especially when my daughter died, I didn't care if I lived. Mm-hmm. But it left me, she left us a message and said, find the diamond in the situation. And that's when I really said, okay, my lifeline is knowing there's an opportunity, there's a gift, there's a power, there's a doorway inside of every experience that we have. And it was very difficult to find it inside of that one, but ever since then, I've been through other ups and downs. I went through a 3-year divorce after 25 years. I wanted out, but it was not happy. And I went from owning $1 million home and 80 properties and thinking I was set for life to literally being homeless, like just not knowing where I was going to live, and bankrupt. I had to go through bankruptcy. And literally I had never been in that place before where I felt like I had no backup, no support. So my daughter dying was one level of grief and pain, and my first business closing and my experience around, people don't pay their bills. Really? I didn't understand that. And then this new level came as I thought, I'm this close to freedom. I'm this close to finally, after all this personal work and all this time, I've come to a place in my life where I can be free to be myself and my business is thriving, and then to have it all just, again, completely deconstruct. And standing there going, oh my God, I'm not young, and I worked all my life to build up all this, and now I have pretty much nothing. And such a powerful experience. I cannot tell you. I know people all over the planet have experienced divorce and foreclosure and losing jobs and death and all of these things, and it's what we all go through. There's nothing that keeps you from having that happen. Mm-hmm. But what ultimately it is it's about how do we perceive it, what meaning do we give to it, and how do we move through it? How do we look for the diamond and find the opportunity? And coming out of my divorce was so powerful because my mother disowned me in the middle of it. And it was just sort of like everything piling on top. Mm-hmm. And I so basically divorced my parents and my husband and felt completely alone trying to figure out how to feed my kids and everything. And I'm sitting there going, this is so bizarre for, everything I know and everything I've created, everybody I've helped. How could I be in this situation? And then to surrender at some point and to realize that, this is a rebirthing. There's a new level to go to. And I remember the day that it was massive money struggle, sweating all night, trying to figure out how to pay the rent, building a new business. I could not go get a job. And when I was finally was getting along pretty well, always having a little bit of money in the bank, not a lot, but just kind of going well, I walked in one day and saw that there was like practically nothing in the bank account and $5,000-$10,000 of bills due in a couple of days. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? And what was so powerful about that moment was that I walked out on my balcony and I looked down on myself and realized I wasn't going into fear. I wasn't judging myself. I didn't have the sick feeling in my stomach anymore. My head wasn't going, oh my God, I can't believe you did this again. You're such a loser. Nothing. None of that was happening. There was no negative reaction whatsoever. In fact, my mind just went, okay, interesting data. Now, what do I need to do? Okay, we better go start looking where we're going to make some money. And it just went easily and gracefully over into a state of looking for the solution rather than going into drama.
Yeah. So how did you come to that point? Because it seems to me like you were going through a lot of hardships, but there had to be that aha switch or inside of yourself that would, bam, that got you from feeling sorry or unworthy to, okay, let's just do the solution. What was that switch or that aha moment?
Well, it was training. It was the training over the years, through all of my searching for, who are we? How do we work? And then when I started to coach other people and became a hypnotherapist and being able to see inside people's subconscious mind, and then constantly being faced with different challenges of my own, choosing, rather than believing that everything around me had control over me, or that that person could do something to me, or that person could take something from me. I fully embodied that I was designed this way on purpose. I stopped the struggle between, who you were told you should be or could be and who you were designed to be. Like, we're all different and we're all weird. Quite honestly, there's no normal. There's no one else like any of us. And yet in a lot of society, we're forced continuously to do what everybody else thinks is safe or right, and not trust our inner voice, not trust our intuition, not understand that we have everything we need. As if we embodied that as a truth, we would be able to find a solution all the time to everything, because we would have no doubt about it, no different than, if you drove home and your car was in the garage, but you can't find your keys and you just didn't remember where you put them. You wouldn't stop looking. You would have absolute certainty. We have a solution to everything. So it was a matter of over time. And then each of these crashes, instead of seeing them as being a failure, nothing I did beforehand being worthwhile, which is what most happens to most people, right? They have what I call your poor girl, your poor guy in your head. That's all of your negative beliefs. That's all of your limiting beliefs. That's the part of you that's supposed to keep you where you are. It says you can't do that. You shouldn't spend the money. You can't go into debt. You tried it last time, but it didn't work, right? Who are you? They're not going to pay you. All of that crap, right, that everybody has. That's what you have to manage, right? You have to manage it. And that's where all of the work that I did, first for myself and then started to do with clients, came in handy. But what would happen, right, is then you have this crash and you're going, but I know all this. Why is this happening to me? Well, you have to recognize that you have this spiritual blueprint, and it's not something that was done to you. It was something you chose, you created, you co-created with Source, or however you want to perceive it.
But you're not conscious of it, right? That the case?
Well, we're mostly no, we're not. However, it's our intuition, right? When we feel like, I just know I'm supposed to do this, or I was meant to talk to that person, or I saw that guy and I just knew in an instant I was going to marry him. Those are the things that what that is, that's a trigger that activates that memory within this blueprint that we have. And it's not that we have to do, like, you're going to become a nurse and you have to be a nurse your whole life. No, I've had 5 different businesses. I'll probably have 10 more before I die. I don't know. Like, you're supposed to follow these, because each of them, when I look back, and I do this with my clients, we look at their history and how their perceived failures, their ups, their downs, their successes, maybe they took a bunch of courses and then they didn't use them, quote unquote, and they thought it was a waste. Like, how all of these actually have, without you realizing it, have added it perfectly into what you need to become, what skills you need to learn. They've all added up to exactly keep moving you towards the direction that you want to go, which is your mission are things like, well, be yourself, but it's like, okay, completely embody. If you really believe that freedom is your number one value, are you living it? Are you free in your relationships? Are you free in your expression? Are you free where you live? Do you feel free to make the kind of money you want or to go where you want? Do you have friends and people in your life that support that freedom? Do you have people who tell you, like I used to with my family and my ex, it was like, why do you want to travel? Why do you want this? It was always, you're wrong for wanting what you want.
So are you basically saying, though, a lot of the stuff that you have done in your life or experiences you've had were actually stepping stones to your greater success and abundance, but really we give it a label as negative or bad, and that's really what kind of keeps us stuck from not living our true full abundance? Absolutely.
Exactly. And when you flip it, this is so much fun to do with my clients too, right? When you take what's happening to you and you flip it and you're perceiving it as bad or negative or in some way, wrong, and you're feeling that way about it, we know we cannot stay in that vibration and expect abundance and love and happiness to show up. right? We can't spend 20, if you meditate an hour a day, which is a lot for people, that means you still have 23 hours if you're walking around worried and doubt and fear, or whatever. That's the primary vibration that you're living in. That's the primary signal that you're sending out. So yeah, in order to flip wherever you are and say, okay, what could possibly be the benefit of what's happening to me right now? Because you'd look at it and say, what could be the benefit of your daughter dying? What could be the benefit of losing millions of dollars in a divorce and all of your property and all this assets that you spent your whole life getting to know? What could be the benefit of that?
So is it actually asking questions at that time?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Like, well, what's underneath this? And instead of being a victim, be the powerful creator that you are and say, okay, if this is what I created for myself and I love myself and Source and God and the angels and whatever you believe in, they all love me and they're all here helping me on my path. Well, then what on earth could this possibly mean? Oh, well, maybe it means that none of what I'm doing right now is serving me towards my path, and I've learned what I've needed to learn here. Maybe it means this relationship has completed its karmic path, and I've gotten what I need, and now I'm stronger because I had to learn to speak up in this relationship, and now I can speak up. So I'm going to speak up, and I'm going to get out, and now I can live a whole new life because now I know how to speak up, right? When people are abused, when people are belittled and not respected and underpaid, it isn't anybody else's fault. It's because that's a part of you that you want to change. You want to have that respect for yourself. You want to have that love for yourself where you can do those things, and you cannot change it until you have an experience where you walk through it as a different person. So the only permanent change we ever experience, and I learned this from mind and hypnosis and quantum physics and all the different things, is the only permanent change we create in our subconscious, which is the pattern by which we live, is by having a new experience. So you have to do it again and again, or you have to say, you know what, next time my husband shows up and he starts to belittle me or not respect me or doesn't agree with me and I don't say anything, I'm going to say something, right? And then you do it the first time really clumsily and you get in a fight, or whatever. And then the next time you go, well, I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to be clearer and I'm going to be more calm and I'm not going to take it personally. And then you've up-leveled your vibration. You've put more love into you and into the situation. You're more focused on the outcome of feeling at peace and completely in alignment with your own courage to express yourself and your own self-esteem to be in that moment because you are good enough, exactly who you are, and you deserve to have whatever it is you want, whether it's respect or communication or love or whatever. And you learn to walk through that, and then you're doing it as a different person. So you're having a different experience.
So you're stepping out, in essence, getting uncomfortable, asking the questions like, how could this be different? Why is this happening? And then really getting uncomfortable or getting comfortable with getting uncomfortable and stepping out and taking that challenge in your life. If you're not happy with something, say at that job, maybe your boss is disrespecting you, nicely saying and standing up for yourself and saying, no, that's not okay, as you just said. And just each time going a little step forward that might be a little uncomfortable, but each time will, as you said, raise your vibration and allow you to be that much more loving towards yourself.
Yeah, and the more, the funny thing is the more you love yourself, the more you accept yourself, the more you stop arguing about I'm not, smart enough or outgoing enough or skinny enough or whatever it is. And you just start being you and you love yourself. Like you allow the universe to love you. You allow yourself to go, wow, this is great. I love what I have and I love who I am. You need less from other people. You need to take less. Right? You need to try to, there's this sense in everybody that they're missing something. And there's this desperation to go out and to find it, to get success or to have the big enough house or to not look stupid or whatever it is. And instead, if you fall in love with yourself and your purpose and the desires in your heart that are leading you, and you're like, I have no idea why. I remember when my husband went from aerospace engineering back to school for nursing. And everybody was looking at him like he was a lunatic. He was like, and he couldn't say why. He was like, he had no logical explanation for why on earth he would do that. He would, leave a lucrative reputable, especially for a man, thing. But he knew in his heart it was what he was meant to do. And sure enough, he's almost the way through. He's in a death and dying class. My daughter dies. Everything converges. And the moment she dies, I see his purpose come right into his body. I watched it happen, and he ended up going into hospice. I just had a chance to watch this with a couple of my clients, and I love this because they're all trying to hit bigger goals in their incomes this month. They're all coming to San Diego to a mastermind we're having, and some of them are flying from South Africa and India and quite far away, so they're looking at a lot of expenses to fly. And so they're having a lot of high motivation. We have a really loving space where we're lovingly encouraging people. And two of them, one lady came and she said, "Oh my gosh, I hit my goal and it's only the 5th of the month, and I'm going to up-level my goal." And then the next day, a client who was going to pay $1,000 a month backed out. And, she showed up, typing in the forum oh, just doing that emotional crash. Oh, here I thought I'd done it. It was so good, and now it got taken away. And immediately I went in. Now, because she's been training with me for about 6 months, she knows this, what I teach, which is, take a breath and get yourself centered into space, because when things fall apart, that usually means something better and bigger is right behind it. And if you can maintain your energy through it instead of falling apart, if you fall apart, you can often block the next opportunity, or you won't see it because you're so busy feeling sorry for yourself, right? Or
being ready to receive it.
Yeah. And so, literally walked her through 3 times during the day. We were conversing. I was like, keep your energy up, keep yourself focused on where you're going, keep your vibration. She walked it through, and she does animal archetypes, and she's like, "Oh, I'm bringing the dragonfly," all this stuff. And then the next morning she said, "Oh, he came back, he paid his $1,000, and he signed his agreement."
Yay. Awesome.
Right?
Awesome.
Right? And so that's just a small example. And, you could say easily, well, he would have done it anyway, no matter what, maybe. But what was more powerful for her, right? To learn to maintain that state, not get down and depressed, not ruin her energy and her day, not block off anything else. Because remember, when we're out doing something, so let's just take business. If you're out looking for clients and you're talking to people and you're speaking and you're putting all of this energy and momentum out, you might be speaking over here. You're speaking to the east and you're facing east. And all of a sudden walking from the west is somebody who wants to hire you. Because where you give your energy doesn't mean it's going to come back from that direct place.
Yeah.
It goes out into the universe and from any possible direction. You might just randomly get a friend call you up from 5 years ago, right? Yeah. And then find out what you're doing and say, "Oh my gosh, I know someone." You have to keep the momentum going. You have to keep your faith and your focus, and then realize that it can then come back to you from somewhere else. And for her, because I know her patterns and everything very well now, I know the opportunity, the invitation in that situation, because that's how we look at everything, was for her to learn to not go, because that's her thing. She works really hard and then she falls off. And she works really hard and then she falls off. Yeah. And if everything everything goes really well when she's really, really focused, so she's breaking that I have to work hard pattern. Yeah. Because that's part of, living your bliss life, following that, respecting yourself, is living a life that actually supports you, that you love, that, lifts you up, that there's self-care and all that stuff. Yeah. And breaking what most of us have, which I did and still have a little bit of, is that, we often make it harder than it should just because that's the way we were programmed.
Yeah, I get you, girl. Well, it's been so awesome having you come on Savvy, and I don't want us to leave out here because our time is coming to a close without people finding out how they can get your awesome new book, which is available. It's coming out on February 14th, but it's available for pre-order on Amazon for only 99 cents. Please tell the audience how they can get in contact with you and get your wonderful new book called Be Love.
Absolutely. So you can go to belovebook.com. And it will have the correct information for you on where to buy it on Amazon. You can always go to Amazon as well. But if you go to belovebook.com, you can also come back there and let us know that you've bought the book, and we have some other goodies for you. We're going to be doing some activations. So the book is a very practical manual. It talks about how do you, how do you escalate your energy? How do you take all these different situations and actually be able to instantly access a state of inner peace, or activate that strong self-esteem that you need in some situations, or activate real courage? And these are vibrational states. They're states of consciousness. And so it's a very, very fun book. It's simple, it's not huge, and it's for you to use. And the other thing in it is we have audio activations. So when you get the book, there'll be links for you to come over and get some audio activations that you can listen to. And that's one of my signature things, is to have that for people. Also, if you want to come over to nanakasha.com, NANAKASHA.com, you can check out all of our videos and our other audios that we have for you. We also have the Academy for Intuitive Arts starting in June. And so we're going to be opening up in March. We'll be opening up registration for that. If you're interested in learning how to deepen your intuition, if you're interested in connecting with your spiritual path, your vision, your mission, communicate better, interpret better, have that sense of peace to be able to walk along and learn how to do this for clients or just in your life, you can come and check that out. It's going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal school. We're going to have, you get certified when you come out, so you can actually start a business from this. You can add it to your practice, or you can use it for yourself. And we're going to go into all kinds of ways of how you manifest and use yourself as the creator that you are, and all the things I've learned over the many, many years that I've been doing this. So.
Yay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nan. I'm so excited for you, and thank you so much for coming to share your awesome wisdom and gifts, because you've had so much knowledge that you've gained over the years, that you've created so many businesses, you've had ups, you've had downs, but it goes to show you that abundance is there all the time, just waiting to be received by you. You just have to be open to receive it, and your book will show people how to do that with the 14 principles that you bring about. So everyone, please go check that out today, and thank you, Nan, for coming to Savvy Central Radio.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
There are some exciting changes coming this 2015 for Savvy. We'll start videocasting some of our interviews. Also, stay tuned for a new book presently being worked on by my co-author and I, Karen Rowe. We'll talk about how to bridge the gap from worker bee to business owner, and the lessons we've learned on our journey to entrepreneurship. In addition, this spring we'll start live interview opportunities in Manhattan, which will later be aired on iHeartRadio, a new mix to business networking and interviews. For those interested in participating as a paid sponsor or interviewee, contact us at 718-713-2289 or savvycentralradio@gmail.com. Here's to 2015 being the best year yet for all of us.